meeting of the Potomac Yard Homeowners Association. And during the executive session that we were just in, we reviewed 3 complaints against the Homeowners Association. The first complaint was from a homeowner who said that his private residence was inspected by the HOA community manager on May 3rd, 2023, saying that this is costing the HOA money and was unauthorized. So in our investigation of this, we found, first of all, that the complaint did not provide evidence that there was any cost to the HOA or that an inspection took place. The community manager says that there was no inspection, that she had just made an internal note in the computer system about an open violation at this address. And we have not been able to find evidence otherwise, or any evidence that there was any cost to the HOA. So could I get a motion on this complaint?
So moved.
Okay, I mean, I guess I would say I would entertain a motion to dismiss this complaint on the grounds that there's no proof that the HOA was charged or that an inspection took place, and that there was evidence to the contrary. Then,
so moved.
Okay, could I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Let's vote. Maria, how do you vote?
Yes.
Asha?
Yes.
You?
Yes.
I vote yes. Frank is recused on this one. Okay, the second complaint is that our HOA has performed title searches throughout our community, which all HOA members have been charged. As of today, our HOA is suppressing this information and not giving HOA members in good standing access to title searches, which are the association's data. The HOA does not have this information. It has not been delivered to us, and the search by our attorneys for this information has not yet been completed. So we've found in our discussion that this complaint is unfounded because we are not withholding records because we do not actually have the records. So I would entertain a motion to dismiss the complaint based on that.
This is Asha, so moved.
Second. Does somebody second it?
Second.
Okay. How do we vote? Maria?
Yes.
Asha?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Frank Capone is recused on this. Our third complaint says that the Potomac Yard HOA is in clear violation of Virginia Statute 55.1, 1817. The board of directors have not established a reasonable, effective, and free method for all lot owners to communicate with the board of directors regarding any matters concerning the association. So in this one, we did receive an opinion from our attorney who said that the complaint is very specifically worded to say that we do not have a method for lot owners to communicate with the board of directors. We do have a method for lot owners to communicate with the board of directors. That is the open forum and also the board email addresses. So I would entertain a motion to dismiss the complaint based on that.
So moved.
I get a second.
Second.
Okay, how do we vote? Maria?
Yes.
Asha?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Capone is also recused on this one as well. Separately, I would like to entertain a motion to have the community manager look into providing the community with a communication method whereby members of the community can communicate with each other.
So
So
moved.
moved. Sorry.
Okay. How do we vote? Maria?
Clea, we need a second.
Oh,
Second.
Second.
Asha, second.
okay. Maria, how do you vote?
Yes.
Asha?
Yes.
Lou? Frank, you can vote on this one if you'd want. This is not directly related to the complaint. Okay, Frank says yes, and I say yes. The motion passes 5-0. Okay, so now we'll go into review and approval of the minutes. Is there, I'd like to move to entertain a motion that we approve both the July 11th and July 26th special meeting minutes. But is there anybody on the board who prefers to have the votes done separately?
Yeah, I'm fine voting for both.
Okay, could somebody make a motion to approve both minutes then?
So moved.
Could I get a second?
Second.
Okay, how do we vote? Maria?
Yes.
Asha?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Yes.
And I vote yes. So the minutes are approved unanimously. Okay, moving on to old business. This was the case of a homeowner who had complained that the mulch behind his unit had artillery fungus and had requested treatment of the mulch to get rid of the fungus. So we had discussed this at our last meeting. We were concerned because the contractor said this is like this area, this specific location has been had the same treatment before. We got a bid, the cost was about $500, and the contractor said he did not believe that this treatment would actually cure the problem. So apparently then the contractor went out to the location and could not find any evidence of artillery fungus. Now, I don't know, is the homeowner in this case here by any chance? I guess, does anybody on the board, I guess we can discuss possible courses of action on this. I think, my own inclination would be to not take any action to approve the expense, and instead direct Margot, the community manager, to talk to this homeowner and his neighbors about investigating alternate solutions. I know there's a lot of people have individually done different things behind their units. And if we can get a mutually agreeable solution that doesn't involve a treatment that we don't know works, that's probably a better way to go. Anybody else on the board have a thought about this?
I don't think the HOA could service that area anyway. We certainly can't service the back of townhomes. So I know there was an illusion that the HOA may own condo property apparently, but so I don't. This isn't anything the HOA could be servicing. You certainly can't do it on the back of townhomes.
Is it in the back of the townhome, Clay? Do we know the
Yes.
location?
Well, I don't know if it's a townhome or a condo building. It's probably, well, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so I mean, I think what you're asking is reasonable. Then hold off on approving it until we do further investigation to determine the exact location and the scope of it as well, and then report back to have the community manager report back to us. We can make a decision.
So I would, if everybody's agreed, I would entertain a motion to take no action on this, and have Margot investigate, communicate with the homeowner about alternative solutions and location.
But Leah, isn't that the action? Right? I mean, when you say no action, it sounds like we're not doing anything.
So we don't, all right. But I guess the specific thing was just to have Margot, continue to address this, but we can certainly do that more informally. All right.
Clea,
Yeah.
sorry, so did the homeowner ask us to do something that we're not
The
doing?
homeowner wants us to pay $500 to have the mulch behind his house treated for fungus. Remember,
Okay.
this came up the last meeting. The thing that gave us pause was that the contractor, the Complete Landscaping, says they don't think that this is going to solve the problem. And now this says the contractor says found no evidence that there is fungus.
So what more is Margaret going to be able to do at this point?
I mean, she said that there was a dispute between neighbors over putting plastic down or doing other things to protect vehicles. So just having her have more conversations with them about whether there can be, some kind of mutually acceptable resolution to the problem.
So is she going to mediate between the two neighbors on this solution?
Well, like she had suggested, for example, that potentially one solution would be to put something else down there besides mulch, like rocks.
Well, it sounds to me, just to chime in here, and I know it might not be what they want to hear, but it's what it is. The contractor already came back and gave, who is the professional, they came back and gave their answer. That's the solution. That's the answer.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep. It sounds to me like everybody here is in agreement that we should take no action on this.
That's correct.
Okay, great. Well, then let's move on to new business. So the first thing that we have here is a proposal for the landscaping replacements for the fall. And this is the accumulation of all of the requests for removal and replacements of dead plants throughout the year. Now, we've already approved some of this. This is in addition, this is now the sum total that it's come to for all of these replacements. So this is, as you know, we have not done removal and replacements of plants since I think the fall of 2021, other than there was a whole bunch of arborvitae trees that were damaged during a storm in early 2022. The average spending of the community on these kinds of things, on removal and replacement, is annually. It varies from year to year, but it's about $45,000. So this number that we have here, representing like 2 years worth of work being pushed into 1 year, is pretty much in line with what the community historically has spent.
And Clea, if
yeah.
I can just add, just to make it clear for any other homeowners who may not have been here during last year, can you explain why we had to not perform that? We were asked by the city not to perform any additional
Yeah,
changes.
what happened was there was a delay in doing work last year because we discovered halfway through the year that Pulte was still not off bond on a lot of the landscaping throughout the community. And so that caused us not to be able to do any replacements in the fall while we were waiting for Pulte to inspect the landscaping. And it was not clear to us what jobs Pulte was going to have to do, what replacements they would have to pay for, and then what we would be responsible for. So those inspections have now been done. And in most cases, it involved replacements of trees throughout the community. So now we have a backlog of other work that needs to be done.
It's clear.
All right. Any other board members want to weigh in on this proposal?
This HOA has no authority to do this. You cannot charge homeowners assessments when it's not on common areas. You're receiving $795K in custom landscaping. Lou's receiving $400 in custom landscaping. My lawyer's already said they cannot charge you HOA assessments on private property unless everyone's getting the same exact service and if they're even authorized to do it. So we're way overstepping our bounds here. This shouldn't even be on the docket tonight.
Well, that's your opinion, Frank. that information is actually not factual. So,
Okay. You're going to keep spending all this money on legal, not get anywhere.
other members of the board have anything that they would like to say about this?
And Clea, is there somewhere in the document that the landscaping committee can just confirm that the proposed changes are aligned with the site plan and there's nothing that's being changed out that's not in line with, not in compliance with the site plan?
Yeah, I mean, Freddie is here. Freddie, could you address that?
Freddie, I think you're on mute.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Fine. The replacements are conform completely to the site plan in terms of their locations. They do not conform completely with the site plan specific plant selections for reasons we have discussed before. Because Pulte had a great deal of, as I've stated before, Pulte had a great deal of leeway in changes it could make in the original plantings. It took very wide advantage of that leeway. So we have many plants in the community that have been here since Pulte installed them that are not detailed in terms of their type on the site plan. So there are certainly instances where we've recommended things to maintain consistency in a planting bed of a plant that was not on the original plan. We've adhered as closely as we can, but not 100%. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Freddie. I just wanted to make sure you answered it in the first part of it, that that the replacements conform with the site plan, and the plant selections that were made that you're suggesting, they are in line with the City of Alexandria's, I'm forgetting the word that they use, but the list that they have, the approved list.
Well, I think I just said, but when you say the city approved list, what are you referring to? Are you referring to what was spelled out on the original site plans?
No. Just I'm forgetting the term that they use. It's for like the invasive species, but the opposite of it.
But I think I think what Freddie is saying is that Pulte originally planted some plants that were not on the site plan. And in some cases, we are replacing dead plants with those same plants. So we're not adding things in that are different, right, Freddie? We're just replacing the same thing with the same thing. But Pulte is the one that originally did not conform to the site plan. Is that right?
That is correct. There are a few instances where we are introducing things, and the reason we're doing it is that we're working to conform more closely to what the city wants in terms of native plants in the community. So where we have a location that's very appropriate to do that, in some instances we've done that. So really the plant selection is now a combination. It's not a distinct list from the original site plans.
Lou, did you have a question or thought?
I have a comment and a question. I'm going to listen to the recording from this meeting, but I think I heard, I just want to confirm that another board member said that I had $400 worth of custom landscaping performed. I'll take that up offline, but if that was said, that is a false statement, which I will deal with offline.
It's on the list, 607 East Alexandria, $400. It's on the same list I have. You're voting yourself $400 in customized landscaping, AKA self-dealing.
That means everybody on the list is receiving customized landscaping, which means that it's not customized.
Everybody,
I just want to be clear. I have not even a clue as to what plans on my property are even being replaced. So to insinuate custom landscaping means I must have had some sort of discussion saying, hey, can you put this here because I'm a special person and I deserve more. And that was never to take place. It never took place. It is absolutely a false statement.
it's $400, 607 East Alexandria. You can look it up on the list.
Folks, we're not going to go.
Clea, you're on mute. Clea, you're on
So
mute.
you mean
Sorry, I said we're not going to devolve into this. It assumed, you know, I said earlier that these were false statements. It also presumes, which we don't actually have documented at this point, that the property, that the planting area outside of buildings is not common area. So, you know, those are matters that are being investigated and that we are working to resolve.
I have the title search on my
Hey,
house. I can tell you what I own.
Freddie, would you like to speak?
Yes. I'd like to make it very clear that the locations and the plants specified on this cost proposal are a combination of evaluation of owner complaints and also the landscaping committee's walkthrough, which took place in the first half of July. 6 of the 7 members of our landscaping committee were able to participate in the walking survey. And so the locations and plant selections were done on committee initiative, not owner initiative.
Thank you, Freddie. Okay, so at this point, can I entertain a motion to approve this proposal?
Where's this money coming from? I'm not budgeted for this.
so moved, Clay?
Great, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, I'm going to call the roll. Maria,
Yes.
Asha,
Yes.
Lou,
Yes.
Mike,
Oh,
and I'm a yes. So the motion passes 4-1. Okay, so the next proposal we
Clea?
have on our agenda to
Clea?
approve.
Sorry,
Yes.
Freddie, do you still want to say something? I see her hand is still up. Maybe not. Okay.
Yeah, probably from the last
Okay.
time. Okay, so the next proposal is a separate proposal, but also part of our effort to do as much repair to the landscape as possible during the fall planting season. This is for a turf improvement throughout the entire community on median strips and places where animals have peed and burned the grass away. So this is for $13,875. Are there thoughts among the board about this proposal?
yeah. I mean, why is there no diagram on where this sod's going to be replaced? I'm guessing a lot of it's going to be placed on your property, Clea, which is not an HOA common area, and you're not authorized to do it.
Well, again, Frank, you're making assumptions about what is a common area that you're unable to prove. Second of all, this is throughout the entire community.
Don't show me the diagram. This is for your property personally.
Okay.
Just like Lou just voted himself $400 in customized landscaping.
Is it possible to mute him, please, so we can get on with the meeting?
Clea, you're on mute.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yes. All right. Anybody have others else on the board want to weigh in on this, or shall we vote? Does somebody want to make a motion to approve it?
Actually, before has the committee or the company, the landscaping company, explored any other options for how to deal with those areas? Because I feel like
So this-
will this treatment work for those areas?
Yeah, I mean, I defer to Freddie on that, but just or other members of the landscaping committee. But this was discussed extensively with Complete Landscaping, the various options. So this is what they recommended after looking carefully throughout the entire community. And it's less expensive, obviously, than just putting sod down in some of these areas.
Okay.
Freddie, did you have any thoughts on this?
I think we have to depend on the expertise of our landscaping contractor. They have the experience with this. And so I would depend on what they tell us. I think we have to recognize as a community that there are areas that are going to be subject to a particularly heavy pet or human foot traffic. And that's just the reality. And this, I think, is the best fix for now, but obviously it's not going to be a 5-year fix or a 10-year fix just because of the given situation.
Thank you, Freddie. I just wasn't clear, and the reason I asked is it wasn't clear to me that had happened. So now that I know that, I feel more comfortable voting.
Right. Okay. Does somebody want to make a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Could I get a second?
Second.
All right. How do we vote? Maria?
Yes.
Asha?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Frank?
Oh,
I vote yes. The motion passes 4-1. Next is the proposal to replace the red maples in Conway Park, which is very sad that we have to do this, but they have been infected with leaf scorch, which we have been told by our landscaping contractor. It can be treated, but it will never get better. And the city is also has changed its recommendations. They no longer recommend red maples. And they no longer recommend that we have only one species of tree. So this is a attempt, and so the proposal has been reviewed by the city for the replacement trees, and they have approved the selection. Freddie, is there anything else you want to add on that?
Yes. I think, you could argue that some of the trees are leafing out a little bit better, but they're all ultimately, I think, doomed to fail. And to me, it makes much more sense from a practical standpoint to do them all now, because I think if we spread it out and wait in hope that some of them will recover, the cost will get substantially higher. So I think this is the most cost-effective time in which to do this.
Great. Thank you. Any further discussion on this, or does somebody want to make a motion to approve it?
Moved.
Can I get a second?
So moved.
Okay. How do we vote? Maria?
Yes.
Asha?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Frank?
yes.
I vote yes. So the motion passes 5-0. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is landscape rejuvenation pruning. So this is, the bushes in the community have been not maintained for many years. And we're now in a situation where we have massive bushes that are starting to cover people's windows. And so, ultimately what we want to do is be in a situation where we have this kind of thing on a rotation, where you have like a 3 to 5 year plan, and you're pruning some of the bushes in the community each year. But we're now at a place where basically every bush in the community needs a winter rejuvenation pruning. So the question before us is whether we want to just get everything reset and done this winter all at once. We have a second proposal to space it out over 3 years, which would put us on the 3-year cycle where you do a third each year. If we do it that way, that would mean that there's some people with massive overgrown bushes who would have to wait another 2 years to get pruning. So anyway, thoughts and questions from the board about this?
I'm sure a lot's going to change now to this winter, but we'll see how it all plays out. I mean, I don't know where you think we're getting this authorization from to service condo properties.
Does anybody else on the board have a thought about just doing the whole thing at once now, or voting for a 3-year proposal?
Clea, I like your idea of resetting it now and then, because since we're doing all of the other changes now, it seems like it might be in line. Better to do it all together rather than staging it throughout the 3 years.
I agree with Maria. I second what Maria said.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay. Well, in that case, does somebody want to make a motion to approve the proposal for addressing the rejuvenation pruning all at once?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Okay, so I think Maria moved and Lou seconded. Maria, how do you vote?
Yes.
Asha?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Frank?
No.
And I vote yes. So the motion passes 4-1. Okay. Last budget or last expenditure item here on this list is that we had our our regularly scheduled irrigation inspection, and they found about $3,064 worth of irrigation repairs. Just a note, we budgeted for an annual expenditure of $20,000 on irrigation. So far, we've spent $14,727. So this is within our irrigation repair budget. And of course, we'll be shutting down the irrigation system at the end of the year. So it doesn't seem like we'll go over the budget. Any discussion among the board on this expenditure?
Where is this located, this irrigation?
Look, it's spots throughout the community. I believe
Is it on HOA common area?
it's in places throughout the community that the HOA historically has been maintaining all the way back to 2012.
So we don't know if it's on condo property, on townhome property, or on HOA common areas.
I think that question, Frank, presupposes that there's a difference and that the Master Association has not had a pattern in practice of maintaining this, and that it was the city's intent that it was not the city's intent that our association do that work. So it's a lot of assumptions there. Since we have budgeted for this and we have always maintained the irrigation system, I'm a strong advocate in favor of making sure that people's sprinkler systems are working. Anybody else on the board have a thought about this, or does anybody just want to make a motion to approve it?
Moved.
Okay, Asha moves, Lou seconds it. Maria?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Not to be semantics here, but can you just make the motion, say out the motion again, and then Asher so moved.
Oh, sorry. Yes. So the motion, I would entertain a motion to approve the irrigation repairs proposed by Complete Landscape in the amount of $3,064.
Moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Maria,
Yes.
Asha,
Yes.
Lou,
Yeah.
Frank,
No.
and I vote yes. The motion passes 4-1. Okay. So the next thing we have to discuss on the agenda is that we've received a whole bunch of complaints about the status of the finger parks. And I'm going to try to explain a little bit about what's going on, just for everybody who's on the call. Basically, the three finger parks, Custis, Howell, and Swan, are all ultimately going to be city-maintained parks. Custis already is off bond and is being maintained or not maintained by the city. And then Howell and Swan are actually technically still on bond with Pulte, and it's Pulte's responsibility to maintain them until they get off bond. Howell is coming off this year, probably. And Swan is probably another 2 or 3 years because it's up there adjacent to the Dillon where the development is still going on. So, Margot has met with the city and with Pulte about the conditions of these parks. We think that we are getting a solution where Pulte is going to have a contract with Brightview to regularly maintain Howell and Swan going forward. That doesn't solve our long-term problem of the city just doesn't provide the level of maintenance that we have come to expect, for the parts of the community that we maintain. So, the city, we think that there was a communication problem in the city in Custis Park, and that the landscaping contractor Brightview did not realize that it was really supposed to be doing extensive work in there, although they don't actually mow as often as we do. They only do it twice a month. And we're kind of at the place where we're kind of watching and waiting. There's to see if things get better there. There is an option for us to partner with the city and adopt the park and thus, kind of do additional maintenance there. But that would, so anyway, so this is just on the agenda for board discussion. Does anybody on the board have any thoughts about, whether we should pursue kind of enhancing the level of maintenance that the city is giving to Custis Park, at least at this point?
We're not authorized to do that. The declaration says can't be charged for a service not performed on a common area unless authorized in the declaration. The city maintains the parks. We cannot be charged for this. But there's a lot of other things we're being charged for too, like snow shoveling.
I think, we've had, if you read in your packet, there's a lot of people in the community who are very upset about how terrible these parks look. And we actually, in the past, our HOA did have an agreement, I think, with the city over Custis to provide additional services. This isn't something we need to resolve right now at this meeting, but it's just sort of more of for the information of the board and the community that this is what's going on, because it has been a topic of a lot of concern by people in the community.
And Clea, the Custis Park, is that also the same area where Nathan from the city landscaping group, I remember he said that there are a number of trees that would be required to be, they're going to remove it because of some disease or something damaging the trees. Is that coinciding the same time? And that's maybe why the homeowners in that area are flagging us?
No, I actually don't remember, Maria, and Margot is on vacation this week, which is why she's not at this meeting. I don't remember if it was Custis specifically. I think the complaints have ranged from, it's not just trees, it's like weeds and growing up through the sidewalk or the bricks and just the, dying shrubs and just basically like a look of neglect. So. Anyway, the city has represented to us that they have now made it clear to Brightview that they need to go in and be more aggressive with the maintenance. So we're going to keep an eye on it.
So, okay. So is there anything is there?
So there's no action we need to take. I'm just bringing, this is just sort of on the agenda for discussion.
Okay.
Okay. So then another agenda item, and Maria, maybe this is something you want to address, is that a community member wanted to know if we could do some decorating in Conway Park during the holiday season. I think there have been some discussions about potentially not having this be an official HOA thing, but having community members who were interested do it privately. Is that right?
Correct. And also, what we might try to do is get sponsors, because it won't just, if we're able to get sponsors and maybe get the city of Alexandria to authorize the Potomac Park that's on the opposite side of Canoe Park all together, then there would be no cost to the HOA. We would just need to be able to use the space, which
Right.
as members we're allowed to use it. So.
Right. Right. I mean, I think the one concern that I've heard is just that if we do go ahead and plant a whole 20, however many new trees in there, we would probably just want to make sure we weren't putting anything on the newly planted trees.
Okay, understood.
But I think there are some cherry trees or something in that park that are that have survived and are fine. Okay, so now I think that is all on the agenda. So we have now come to the open forum portion of the meeting where any homeowners who are on can have 2 minutes to address the meeting and the board. Is there anybody on the, if there's anybody on the call who would like to address us, if you're able to, if you're not on the phone, you can raise your hand virtually. I will call on you. Okay, I don't see anybody who has indicated that they want to say anything, but I'll give it another minute.
Maybe I thought Nancy.
Nancy, did you unmute?
I did unmute. I can't find that little thing to push.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. You have a couple minutes, 2 minutes.
I was just going to mention the Fingal Park there on Custis. Besides just the cutting of the grass, which they have now done twice since it had been forgotten about. The 600 block, which is between Main Line and Route 1, that area had been planted with very nice bushes and shrubs and perennial flowers. And I don't know if it's the city or if it was the HOA folks this year came in and sprayed weed killer all over all the perennials. So it's just weeds. Now it was a nicely planted open space there. So that's part of the problem. And the weeds are just going crazy. So I don't know who's responsible for cleaning up the weeds and everything else. But I don't know who's going to rectify the fact that they sprayed with weed killer all the perennial plants that were in there.
Yeah.
So now there's just nothing.
Okay. Thank you.
2 years ago it was beautiful, and this year it's just trashed.
Right. So thank you for raising that up, Nancy. So it is a city park, so it is the city's responsibility. But like I said, we've heard a lot of complaints like yours about how bad it looks, and that's why we are investigating, whether there's some supplemental thing where we could adopt the park and add some, help plant things. But thank you. So I think as step one, I know Margot has been out there and looked at it. But step one is we'll circle back with Margot and have her raise it up with the city parks people. And if they don't give us a satisfactory answer, we'll explore options for getting it improved.
Mm-hmm. Now, I think we were originally told that the city would not have, once it was turned over, the city would not have money to plant flowers. both Howell and Custis had flowers going all the way down the street in the center part and different planting areas, but they said the city wouldn't continue that once they took it over. So like I said, it was left in very nice shape 2 years ago, and whoever in the meantime has come and sprayed everything with weed killer. So it's just very uneven and just a lot of weeds now. So I don't know if the city will come and fix that up again or what, because it's just a large empty area, about 10 by 12, at least 10 by 15, where it's just dirt right now.
Okay. Well, we do have somebody from the management company on this call, and I'm sure she'll make Margot aware of this concern. So we're working on it. The problem is, like, it's, again, because the city is involved, it's not something that we, we're kind of working through the bureaucracy to get it approved. So.
And Howell is set up the same way, but I really haven't looked to see in that 600 block to see if they had the same setup with the same flowers and the same bushes. I don't know if theirs is all gone away or not on Howell.
So Howell is still actually Pulte's responsibility. So they're all in different phases of development, and but it's supposed to get turned over to the city in the fall. So we're keeping an eye on all of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Is there any other homeowner on the call who would like to address the board? Anybody who's on the phone who would like to make a comment? Okay. So I don't think it looks like anybody else wants to make a comment. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn if somebody wants to make it. I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you very
Aye.
much, everybody, for coming. Have a great night.